welcome to the screen here in just a moment. Emerson Nieto. We'll get his camera on here. There we go. Emerson, welcome back, I should say, to Fort Wayne Footy. How are you tonight?
Good. Thanks for having me on the podcast. Now I'm excited to chat about whatever we got to chat about.
Whatever. We got a game to chat about.
Whatever we drill you with, right?
Yeah, and your debut in that game. Apologize, we meant to get you on about 10 minutes ago, but there was so much to talk about in our cheers and jeers that we wanted to get to. Had a lot actually in the comments. Maybe we will come back to, because there was a lot in the comments that I have selected that I'd love to show if we have time. But Emerson, you've been on the show. I think this is your third appearance on the show. Like once on the show, and then we did an interview at one of your training sessions at Tech last year, right before you left for Iowa and beat William Penn in your opening match. So we've talked to you a couple times, but for the sake of those who maybe are meeting you for the first time, I know we've got some listeners outside of Fort Wayne right now. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us the 30-second synopsis of Emerson Nieto. I know there's more than that.
Right. All right. My name is Emerson. I am born and raised here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I just been playing collegiately with Indiana Tech, and now I'm a part of Fort Wayne FC.
Yeah, perfect. And you've been with the team. We've been watching this. Like I've met you at Tech last year. You refereed a lot of high school games this year, so we've talked quite a bit in the last last season or so. So I've followed your journey a little closer than maybe others have here on the show. But you've been with the team since the beginning. I believe so, in training, at camp, and all of that. And I think the last time we talked to you on this show, it was maybe postseason or midseason, going into the postseason tournament at Tech, and you were talking about the pathway to the pro, like what you were trying to do. And here you are with Fort Wayne FC, making your debut last night. Talk about the time you've been there in training, that we've all who know you been watching the pictures. We're like, Emerson's there. Is Emerson signed? Is he going to play? Are we going to get to see him? Talk about your time from your perspective there with the team.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a grind. I was there from day one when we did the fitness test. We did the whole medical exam, like physical check, all that stuff. So I've been there pretty much back since January. I'm pretty sure when we started, and it's been a long journey, but obviously one that I've appreciated a lot, and it's taught me a lot as well, and it's definitely challenged me, because sometimes as a player, you want things to kind of come right away, and it's just life. It just doesn't come like that, so you got to be patient, you got to be persistent. And then eventually came around the time where I got offered a contract, and then I was signed officially. But yeah, I mean, I've definitely enjoyed the process. It wasn't an easy process, because there's some days that are a bit tougher where you're like, man, like, do I really want to get up? Do I really want to keep going? It's like, when is the time going to come? Like, do I want to wait for this time? Like, how much longer do I have to wait? And that's where, unfortunately, that's where like the people that make it because they stick around and keep going, and then the guys that don't make it, you just kind of give up, and then they just sit with that. Oh, what if I did keep going for maybe just a week or another day, even,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's definitely a good experience for sure.
Yeah. I think I remember we had Bernd Shipman on the show earlier in the season, preseason, I believe. And he's been in the league a little bit, veteran on the team, veteran in the league, and talked about his time playing and even training with Chicago Fire at one point. And so the thing he said was very much, it echoes what you just said, is that, the guys that he watched guys come and go, right? And the guys that stuck, that made it work, weren't necessarily always the best players. And that's not not anything against you or anybody else. He said it was the guys that stuck it out that wanted to be the best players. The guys that had the grit, the determination, that pushed themselves, and they didn't take anything for granted. They just kept going day after day, showing up early, training, working hard. Those are the guys that make it in the league. And so shout out to you, man, for putting in the work and getting that well-deserved contract here on day one at the Roo. We were excited to see you out there. We in the chat, we've got people saying, we've been waiting for a long time for that announcement. Ryan Smeltzer in our Footy, Fort Wayne Footy, we've got a Discord with our Patreon members. We play the Spot Emerson game. So when
Brian, be
team
real.
photos,
Brian's going into Instagram and he's like zooming into every picture. And he's like, I think it's so and so. I think it's this guy. I think it's Emerson. I think it's whoever every day. And it's like it literally was who can guess the next contract. So watching yours pop up the day of the game, man, that had to feel super exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
We had a lot of excitement behind it. And, it was a waiting game, so I was like, all this stuff was like getting approved by the league and stuff. And luckily I got through and
we got
announced on.
Yeah, I think we're glitching a little bit there. I apologize if I interrupted you. We had Fort Wayne FC in the chat saying admin was pretty excited to announce a Fort Wayne native, which, by the way, this is the second one. Reed Sproat has been on the team since day one there, and second on the roster the day of our first home match. So super special to have Emerson and Reed there. And, man, I just hope we're going to see more of that, right? Like, I want to talk about that in a minute. Like, now you give kids someone to look at, you and Reed, someone to look at and say, I played with him, or I watched him play when I was a kid and he was in high school and now he's playing pro. I could do that too. Like, so I do love that. But Emerson, we talked just briefly. Team was calling you back to the locker room after the game. I think you just said your goodbyes to your family. And I had just had a moment, just asked you, like, what was it like being the hometown player? Reed has been out there a while. He's been playing. First contract just announced that day. And you stepped on the field, and as we said, somebody here in the chat, I think Brandon said, made an immediate impact. And it was like, as we watched, it was like, why do they wait so long? Like, this guy's balling out here, right? But being the hometown kid, announced the day of the first home match and getting to play the first game in that stadium. What was that moment like for you?
Yeah, it's definitely a special one that I don't think I'm ever going to forget. It's definitely going to stick with me for the rest of my life, pretty much, And again, it goes to the coaching staff, being appreciative of them and trusting me and giving me the opportunity to, sign my first professional contract and then to debut the same day I get announced. So it's fantastic. But having my family, my friends, close loved ones, everyone, everyone's all there. And obviously Fort Wayne community, at least within the soccer community, I want to say a good amount of people. It was like a dream come true kind of deal, because when I was a kid growing up, that stadium there was never there. The idea was never there, I was just a little kid. It's like we had the academies, like, the sports clubs, Fort Wayne United, or what it was back in the day, Fort Wayne Fever, and Citadel, so we never had like a stadium. Like the closest stadium to be was like either Chicago Fire or like even Indy 11,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Who's coming to town in a couple weeks?
Yeah.
Can't wait for that one.
Hey, so did you expect to step on the pitch Saturday night, or was that a surprise to you?
Honestly, a surprise, Like I kind of thought that I was like, it was going to be a moment where, hey, you're rostered, like, it's more so to give you the feeling because, we're home, get on the squad, get on the bench, and then, work your way up into some minutes and all this stuff. But like, I think we started the second half, and usually warm up 5 to 10 minutes before the half ends, just in case they make subs at halftime. And then if not, then whatever, you go sit down, start the second half, and then you go into like watching the second half, starting the first 10, 15. And after that, then they kind of start sending guys up to warm up. And I got up, and coaching staff was like, hey, like 2 minutes, like you're going in.
Heads up, man, look alive.
I was like, what do you mean? Like, I still had my coat on because like I'm a little cold, like, I was like, yeah, like 2 minutes, like go quick warm up, come back, like, get the set pieces, all these details down, and you're going in. I was like, holy, like, I had to ask my trainer for some ibuprofen so I can like chill out. I was like, this is like, big moment, but nah, yeah, I definitely appreciate it. Is definitely a sick moment, and like I said, one that I'm never gonna forget. And obviously, playing in front of my parents, they've done so much for me, sacrificed a lot for me to get to this point. So it's just a way of repaying them back, and also giving the youth here in Fort Wayne, the aspiration to be a pro. That it can happen. That local players are made and go through the process, go through the system, and can make it in the industry of being a professional soccer player.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we talked to a couple of them last night that may be making some waves in the near future. What was it like? So did you take a couple of moments?
You can't say that, Todd, and not mention who they were.
I was gonna say you just like left that dangle out there.
Okay, Landon Wells
last
and
night's
Luca
podcast.
Del Cid, got called up to the U20 Guatemalan team. Check out the 260 Soccer Show replay, and you can catch that interview and what they've been through. And I believe some of them have at least trialed or had some trainings with Fort Wayne FC as well. But no, back to what I was going to ask before. They said you got to mention them, so my bad, guys. Did you? So you get called. You're going on. Get ready. Did you have to take a moment to like center yourself, look at this, take it in, or were you just all game at that point and blocking everything out? What was that like?
I'd say like when I went to go, do like 5 sprints to kind of get warm in 2 minutes. I think that's when I was like looking around. I was like, wow, like, this is really happening, taking in that moment. But obviously, at the end of the day, it's once you step on the pitch or you're like at the halfway line getting subbed on, it's like it's game time. You got to be locked in, got to be focused. At the end of the day, like my job is to step on the field and help my team in any way that I can. So that way we can walk away with 3 points.
Yeah. And to go in, I think in that moment, it wasn't to be a defensive sub to let's ride the game out. You're a distributor of the ball, right? You're a guy that makes the passes, that gets the forwards through, hits it to the wing, move around in the midfield to get the ball back, right? You're a creator on the field. And so to have a coach say, this guy we just signed, like we're not throwing him in just for show because we're here in Fort Wayne. This guy can make a difference. I think shows a lot of trust. And again, you went in, you made a lot of things happen, created several chances that didn't go in, but you were there being the creative player that you were. So that was fun to watch. Amanda, I think you were about to say something and I totally cut you off. So I'll pass it to you.
Fine. You're totally fine. Can you talk? I mean, you've mentioned wanting to be an example for kids coming up in soccer in the 260, soccer in the Fort Wayne area. Can you talk a little bit more about the path you've taken to get here and be honest with us? Like, were there bumps and bruises along the way? Did things fall in line the way you expected? Paint that picture for us a little bit, if you will.
Yeah, so I've definitely had a journey. I'll put it that way. So youth club, I started, if we're going back to when I was a little kid, when I was a baby, pretty much, I could start kicking a ball as far as I can remember. So probably like 2-3 years old. Obviously going up, at the time it was Fort Wayne Fever. Before Fever and Citadel merged together, I played there. Then it became Fort Wayne United. I was there up until about 16 or so. And then I had got the opportunity to go down to it used to be called Indiana Fire Academy, but now it's called Indy 11 Pro Academy, to go train down there because they, at the time, right now, I know recently Fort Wayne United just got the MLS Next bid, but then it wasn't. It was just normal, like, what's it called, the MRL and stuff like that, those leagues. But yeah, so went down to Indy 11, started playing like it used to be called DA, which is now MLS Next, USL Academy, all that stuff, all the good stuff. Signed an academy contract with Indy 11's first team, so played with them for about 2 years before I eventually committed to going down to play at Indiana University, so for the Hoosiers. Went down there, was down there for 3 seasons. I think out of like leading up to that point, everything was like pretty good, pretty steady. Um, I wouldn't say it was easy, but it was just like everything was kind of falling in place for me, to be successful. Then I got to Indiana, and it's like now you get to a point where, you have a freshman who's 18-year-old, and then a senior who's a 22-year-old, and it's like playing a, Power Five, top three school in the entire country. Like it's not a joke, it's
Yeah.
something serious. Like there's talented players from all over the country, even the world. They get brought in, and it's high competition day in day out. It's kind of like a pro environment. So that's where things kind of got a little bit challenging, I'd say, just because I played a little bit my freshman year. My sophomore year, I picked up a small injury, wasn't anything major, kind of sat out, and then I couldn't get back into a rhythm. And then I was like, my third year, I want to stay. I kind of want to prove to myself. Um, but it just didn't work out. I then transferred out to IUPUI, so in Indianapolis, another Division I school. Went there, started like great. Everything was fantastic with the coaching staff. That spring leading into the fall, and the fall came around, was playing well in preseason, started out the year pretty well, and then I don't know, me and the head coach just kind of bumped heads and didn't really see eye to eye anymore towards the end. So that didn't, just kind of like a falling out and didn't work out. And by that time, I was kind of like, mentally exhausted. I was like, do I really want to keep playing? Is this really like what I want to keep doing? Like, um, is there something else for me in this life that I live and stuff like that? So it's like, it was hard. And then I came home. I was originally, to be quite honest, was supposed to go to Purdue Fort Wayne to go play for my last year, or my last 2 seasons. Sorry, because I had a COVID year. And there's like issues with IPY and my transcripts, and then not wanting to release that stuff to Purdue Fort Wayne and all this stuff. So like it pretty much delayed all of my process. I went through preseason with them, and then the coach was like, "Hey, like none of your stuff's coming in. Like I can't have you on the team anymore. Like it's not going to work out because you're not essentially a student athlete, And I was like,
Yeah.
I get it, but the assistant there who I have a great relationship with, he got me connected to Indiana Tech, where Keelan Barker was the head coach. And he was like, "Hey, help this kid out." Me and Keelan got on a phone call, and he took me in. So then I had to do this whole other like process of like going from Mount
Challenge after challenge.
yeah. So it's like now I had to go through like all of the NAI like paperwork. I had to go through all of the NAI like approving process, like all this stuff. That took let alone another week or two. So all this speeds up to like I think I'm getting eventually cleared at Indiana Tech with maybe a week or not even like a few days before the opening game of the season.
Wow.
And these guys already kind of have like a set like starting group, like a set rotation group. So it's like now I got to go in and kind of battle with 20, 15 other guys and try and push everyone out of their position to be like, hey, like I'm here to play, I get there. Eventually I worked my way up, got into the starting spot. And I had a lot of fun considering my last like 2 years of college soccer wasn't the most fun. It was just very, mentally exhausting, and then emotionally, like it just took a lot. It took a big toll on me. And I had a lot of fun. And then I like sat down with my parents, and I was like, I just don't think it's for me anymore. I think I'm done. And they're like, are you sure? Like we support you with whatever you want to do, but like, are you sure that you're done? Because they know me like as their little boy, like the kid that was kicking a ball around in the front yard, the kid that would go like sneaking across the street to go play in front of my park, in like the big grass area, or going late nights to the Plex while my dad was reffing and stuff. And I was like, I don't know. So like I took like 2 weeks or so, and I was like, let me think about it. In those 2 weeks, Keelan calls me and he's like, "Hey mate, like, I want you to come be my skipper for, the fall, all this stuff. I really want you here. Like you're a part of the core group of this team, and I know you're gonna make a big impact and all this stuff. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. So, a week or two go by. I talked to so many people, like my parents, close friends, girlfriend, like everything, and eventually came to the point where I was like, you know what, like, let me do it. Just one last go around. Like, if I truly like fall back in love with it, like, it's great. If not, then, it is what it is. I was happy with what I did with my career. And so I go in, I call Keelan, or no, I go into Keelan's office, chat with him, and I'm like, hey, like, let's do it. I'm down. Like, you'll get 110% out of me, like, all year. Like, I'm here to be committed. I'll give you everything. Like, and at the end of it, I'm done. And if, everything else, let's say I fall back in love with the sport again and it works out, then great. I want to keep pursuing, playing pro. Go through the fall, finish the fall, win the WAC tournament, go to nationals, make it all the way to Elite Eight, get second team All-American. And I had such a blast. Like, I felt like a little kid again. I was like, I want to play. Like, now I'm
Man, that mental shift you had to take one more push. Like, talk to us a little bit about that, because so many athletes reach, and yeah, Christina's got it here too. Like, so many athletes reach that stage later in their young 20-year-old career. But like, talk to us a little bit more, because you're not the only one that sat in that chair and had those conversations. What made you say, hey, let's give it one more go?
I want to say it was, a big reason for sure is like my parents and, my brothers. But I also want to say that I like just wanted to like prove to myself, so
prove that you could do it, or just prove like I'm in or I'm not. Like, I'm going to give it one more go and see what happens.
It was more so prove to myself that I could do it, that I could like find a way again. Because, like you, as an athlete, you reach certain points in your career that like so many people can like tell you no. They like close doors in your face. They're like, no. But there can be that one guy, or like that one coach, that one team, and they're like, yes, and then it works out, and it's like you're on the top of the world. But yeah, I'd say the biggest one for sure was my family, just because from what I've seen that they sacrificed for me, like to see that my parents were committed to drive me 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, straight up after work to drive me down to Indy, every day. Because I had to train 4 times, 5 times out of the week. And then we had games on the weekend, all the money they spent on hotels, travel, like even the club fees, all this stuff. And then obviously going down to IU and going from IU to IPY and then coming back home, like they also had to take care of me like from afar. Like that's, 3 or 4 hours. They helped me pay for my housing over there, my apartment, all this stuff, So it's like, it's a lot that they did for me. Same thing with my brothers. Like my brothers were always there for me whenever I needed, like if I had to call them or stuff, So it's definitely the big one that kind of got me over that. The mental side of things was my family, 100%. I'd have to say, like they were always there whenever I needed them in crucial moments. Like every single time, it's like I picked up his phone. I'm like, hey, like, So I think at least in a young athlete's life, I think a good support system, which usually ends up being like parents or siblings, plays a big factor in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think that's a good word right there. Is having a support system. And, if it's not your parents, if it's not your siblings, you're an only child or whatever, like there are other parents, there are teammates that, you're traveling to games. You've got people in your corner. And I think so many people want to do it themselves and like, I'm going to do this and it's not going to be up to anybody else. But I think having that support system, that's a really, really good word. And I appreciate you talking about that. I was going to say, like, it seems that there's a theme in your story of coaches like, we're going to make him sweat. and then we're just going to put him in charge, right? Indiana Tech here at, I thought I was going to sit on the bench the first game, and coach puts me in like 2 minutes, like go, but again, I joke about that, but I don't think that's probably as uncommon as we might think it is. Like, we think these, athletes that are out on the field they've always been the best. They've always had things given to them, and that's why they're there. But so many people, I think, in that position are guys that have had adversity and have learned to deal with adversity. And it develops a mental toughness, it develops grit, and it develops a work ethic that you can't get otherwise, right? And so I appreciate you coming on and sharing that. And I do believe that there's gonna be a young player in Fort Wayne that hears this and goes, okay,
For sure.
I just needed one more push. I'm gonna give it one more go, and I'm gonna see what happens.
Yeah.
And there might be somebody that says, I don't know that I'm ready for that one more push. And they've got a support system that says, we got you anyway. Like, if you don't want to continue, that's fine. We got you. And so I do appreciate hearing that. One last question in the chat. You talked about your family. Who's your favorite brother? We had here in the chat. And then the last thing I will say. Yeah, you don't have to answer that. The last thing I will say, man, is I'm really disappointed. Like, I'm excited for you, but I'm disappointed this is really going to put a damper on your high school refereeing career this fall, because you'll be there on the field with Fort Wayne FC. But Emerson, appreciate you joining the show. Any final words of wisdom to our audience tonight?
Let's get out to the Roo on Wednesday, show some love to Fort Wayne FC, and hopefully we get some 3 points.
We got a game against a tough opponent there, right? In Portland Hearts of Pine. Yep. Very good. All right, Emerson, thanks for joining us. We'll let you get out of here tonight, and we've got some other stadium stuff to talk about here real quick, and we'll get out there Wednesday night. Hopefully see you out on the field again, and best of luck to you this season with Fort Wayne FC.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.